From KTIV, Siouxland's news channel, this is News 4 at 6.
Breaking news at this hour, President Donald Trump has been flown to Walter Reed Medical Center in Maryland from the White House. Good evening, everyone. I'm Matt Breen. Stella is off tonight. The President and First Lady were diagnosed as positive for COVID-19 overnight. This was the scene at the White House just moments ago when Marine One lifted off from the South Lawn. It was on the ground for quite some time, but eventually took off with President Trump on board, taking him to Walter Reed Military Medical Center in nearby Bethesda, Maryland. White House officials say that visit is precautionary, and the president will work from the hospital's presidential suite, which is equipped to allow him to continue all of his official duties. The president could be seen walking out without assistance to board Marine One. From there, he took that short flight to Walter Reed in Bethesda, Maryland. Now take a look at a live shot outside of Walter Reed Military Medical Center. It's just outside of Washington, D.C. in, as I said, Bethesda, Maryland. That's where the president was taken just a few minutes ago. The White House saying this is precautionary. We are continuing to monitor this story. We'll bring you any updates as soon as they happen. Now, the president could be seen again disembarking from Marine One and boarding a black SUV once he arrived at Walter Reed. The White House says the president will work from a special office at Walter Reed for the next couple of days. And just moments after he landed at Walter Reed, the president posted a message on his verified Twitter account updating the nation on his health.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support. I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out. The First Lady is doing very well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will never forget it. Thank you.
Hope Hicks, who is one of President Trump's closest senior advisors, was diagnosed with COVID-19 just a day ago. At that point, she was the closest aide to the president to test positive for the virus so far. Hicks did travel with the president multiple times this week to a rally in Minnesota on Wednesday and aboard Air Force One for Tuesday night's first presidential debate in Cleveland, Ohio. Now the search begins for anyone that President Trump has come in contact with during what has been a very busy week. So far, we know that his daughter Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner and the president's youngest son Barron Trump all tested negative this morning. We don't yet know about other Trump family members like daughter Tiffany or sons Don Jr. and Eric Trump. On Wednesday, the president held a campaign rally in Duluth, Minnesota. As he walked on stage, he tossed hats into the crowd. The campaign released a statement saying that all scheduled campaign events for the president are being moved to virtual or are temporarily postponed, and all events involving his family are now postponed. Vice President Mike Pence will resume his scheduled campaign events going forward. According to the Vice President's press secretary, both Vice President Pence and Second Lady Karen Pence were tested this morning for COVID-19. Both tested negative. It was Tuesday night that President Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden met on the debate stage in Cleveland, Ohio. Their families were on hand to watch. The candidates, though, did not shake hands before that 90-minute debate. The audience there was as well limited. The former Vice President Biden has confirmed that he and wife Jill each received a negative result after being tested for COVID-19 this morning. And NBC News reports that Vice Presidential nominee Senator Kamala Harris and her husband Doug Emhoff have both tested negative for COVID-19 today. The Biden campaign says he will continue with a planned campaign trip to Michigan after delaying his originally scheduled morning departure. Senator Harris will continue as planned with a campaign trip to Las Vegas. The status of the planned October 15th presidential debate, though, at this point is unknown. An aide says U.S. Senator Charles Grassley of Iowa isn't believed to have had any exposure to anyone testing positive for COVID-19. He's continuing to take normal precautions. Grassley serves as the Senate's president pro tem and is in the line of succession following Vice President Mike Pence and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. A Grassley aide says the senator was continuing to follow guidance from the Senate doctor, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and local health officials. On Twitter, Grassley said this following the president's diagnosis. Barbara and I regularly pray for the president and first lady. 1 Timothy chapter 2 verses 1 and 2 tells us to pray for those in authority. But today we have additional prayers that they get well soon after testing positive for coronavirus. While President Trump was recently at that rally in Minnesota I mentioned, he recently traveled on Air Force One. The concern is people who've been in close contact with him. Now, close contact is considered anyone who's been within 6 feet of someone who's tested positive for COVID-19 for 15 minutes or more. Those who've had close contact are asked to quarantine for 14 days. But what's the difference between quarantine and isolation?
Quarantine is when a person who's thought to have been exposed stays away from others. And this helps prevent the spread of disease that can occur before a person knows that they are sick. And isolation, helps keep those that are positive for COVID-19 separate from those that aren't.
Morrow adds, if you do have someone in your house test positive for COVID-19, it's recommended to have a designated sick room for them to stay in. It's Friday night. Of course, lots of football tonight. And of course, with that chillier weather out there, grab the jacket before you head out to the game. But will you need an umbrella as well? Storm Team 4 meteorologist Leslie London filling in for Ron tonight. She joins us from the Storm Team 4 Weather Center. So what does it look like out there right now, Leslie?
We're already seeing rain make its way into Siouxland, so I would suggest you grab that umbrella too if you are headed out tonight for any of those football games. Now, right now, we're seeing that rain in the western portions of Siouxland. There it is on Storm Track 4. It's continuing to make its way in, but let's track it real quick. Here's your Storm Team 4 future track. So in the next hour or so, we'll start to see it to continue to move east. Now, you can see it's very light green color there. That means it's going to be some light showers at first. But as we head into those later hours, that 7 p.m., things start to get darker out to the west. That means heavier rainfall. That's going to be the case for more of us as we hit that 8 p.m. hour. So here in Sioux City, that's when you can expect to see more of that heavier rainfall. Around 9, when we're finishing off those games, well, it's looking like that's when we'll see more of that heavier rain, and it's going to be widespread. So again, best idea, grab the jacket, grab the umbrella just in case. Matt?
All right, thanks so much, Leslie. A Dakota City, Nebraska woman has pleaded guilty to murder. Melissa Camargo Flores was charged with the murder of 24-year-old Kenya Alvarez Flores of Sioux City. It was back on April 8th of 2018 that witnesses say they saw Camargo Flores stab Alvarez Flores multiple times outside a West 14th Street home. Later, Camargo Flores was found in the area of 16th and Douglas Street with bloody gloves and a bloody knife. According to court documents, in a post-Miranda interview, she admitted to stabbing Alvarez Flores. Melissa Camargo Flores has pleaded guilty now to second-degree murder in that case. Camargo Flores pleaded guilty today to the amended charges as part of a plea agreement. By pleading guilty, Camargo Flores could be sentenced to up to 50 years in prison. She'd be required to serve at least 35 years of that sentence before she's eligible for parole. Camargo Flores could face deportation and will be prohibited from ever legally re-entering the United States. We'll be right back after this.